Hello, folks. Welcome to today's football predictions on BetCrowds. Another very beautiful Sunday morning. We are back with our predictions as usual. We always look at football matches that are happening across the globe. We select a few of these matches and look into them. And also, make verdicts on these matches before bringing it forward for you. But we do those verdicts, using the data that we had on ground, and those data include the past results for each of these teams. Those are what we use to come up with our verdicts for each of these games. That's what we do on a daily basis on BetCraft. All right, then. Before we head on, we'll talk about yesterday's matches. We had 7 games predicted yesterday, but it was 5 that actually came up correctly. And not our standard. We expect to see 100%. Today we have 5, and we expect to see all the 5s coming up just the way we predicted it today. So in a short while, we'll be looking at the match, but we want to ask those of us who are coming across our video for the first time that are yet to subscribe. Take our time to hit the button so that you don't miss out on our games that will always come up here on a daily basis. All right, don't miss out on games on that. So subscribe and remember to also like and share as well. All right, without further ado, we head to the business of today. We are starting with the first match. It is in English Premier League, and we know that today is the end of the season for English Premier League. So all the matches are happening today. So it's quite going to be very interesting games, going on today in the English Premier League. So for us today, we have the match between Fulham and Manchester City as our first game in the Premier League. So we have, the Fulham in the last 6 matches, winning 2 matches out of the last 6 games, but they've also lost 4 games out of those. And Manchester City on the other hand have won 4 and drawn 1, also losing 1. All right, when you look at how the two teams have fared, on home and away perspective, you see that for the home side, Fulham in the last 10 home matches, I've seen them winning 4 games and drawing 1, but they've also lost that. 5 matches out of the last 10 home matches. And away side, Manchester City have been able to achieve 5 victories and 2 draws from away, but have also lost that 3 games in the last 10 away games that they had. We saw them losing the last game, which was against the Crystal Palace. But here, head-to-head basis, we see that Man City have always been dominant of this very tie, winning Fulham. In the last 10 meetings between two sides, I've seen Man City winning 10 out of 10 against Fulham, and this very tie is quite important for Man City, for them to maintain that 3rd place. So we expect to see the away side, Manchester City, winning out shortly here. Away win, that's what we expect. Okay, and the next that we have also in the English Premier League, we'll have Manchester United who will be up against Aston Villa. Okay, very, very interesting encounter. Even though Manchester United have no use for this very encounter, but it's going to be a very interesting one. And we see that in the last 6 games for the home side of Manchester United, it is 2 victories and 4 losses out of the last 6 games that they had. And away side, Aston Villa as well have won 4 matches and losing 2 games out of the last 6 games. All right, when you look at how they fared for home and away basis, Manchester United have actually been able to achieve 5 victories and 3 draws in the last 10 home games, and they've also lost 2. And away side, Aston Villa have won 6 games out of the last 10, and they have also lost 4 out of those. The last away game they had was against Bournemouth, and we sort of beating Bournemouth by 1 goal to nil on that occasion. And on head-to-head basis, last time they met, it was a 0-0 draw. But in this one, we expect to see a very, very heated encounter here, and we expect to see a lot of goals happening in this very one. So we expect to see a minimum of 3 goals in this one. It is an over 2.5. That's value for that very game. All right, and the next is in Danish Super League in Denmark, where we have Copenhagen who will be up against Nordsjælland. All right, for this very match, we could see that Copenhagen, the last 6 games, have been able to win 5 matches out of those 6, and the other one being a draw. They've not lost a single match in the last 6 games that they have so far. And away side, Nordsjælland, on the other hand, have won 2 games as well as 2 draws, and they've lost 2 in the last 6 games that they have so far. All right, when you take a look at how the two teams fared from a one-away basis, you could say Copenhagen have actually been able to achieve 5 victories in the last 10 home matches. They've also had 2 draws as well as 3 losses. And the away side, Nordsjælland, on the other hand, have been able to manage just 1 win, 2 draws, but lost 7 matches from away. That tells you this is not the best side playing from away. The last away game they had, so they're losing to Randas and also Mightyland. The last 2 away games, they lost to those 2. They lost to Mightyland by 5 goals to nil on that occasion. So that tells you that it's not a very good side when playing from away in Nordsjælland. And the last meeting between the 2 sides saw Copenhagen beating this very side from away by 1 goal to nil. That was now April of this very year. So in this one, we expect to see the home side taking the day here, winning out shortly in this very encounter. Home win, that's a verdict for that very encounter. All right, the next that we have for you also in the Denmark Super League, where we have Mightyland who will be facing Randas. Okay, for Midtjylland in the last 6 games, it is 4 victories and a draw, as well as 1 loss in the last 6 games. And the away side, Randas have won 3 games and a draw, losing 2 matches out of the last 6 games that they had. All right, when you take a look at their performances from home and away basis, you see that Midtjylland have done very well from home, winning 7 games and a draw, and also losing 2 matches out of the last 10 home matches. And away side, Randas, on the other hand, have won 4 matches and a draw, losing 5 games out of the last 10 away games. Okay, but also when you look closely at the score line between these two sides, you see it is lots of goals here happening for Midtjylland as well as Randas in their away games that they have. So we expect to see lots of goals happening here, and for Midtjylland, the last 10 home matches that they had have seen over 2.5 9 times out of 10. And their away side, the Randas as well, have seen a very similar situation. Also, 7 times out of 10 that experienced over 2.5. Recent game that we've had, so they're scoring up to 3 goals. The last 2 away games that they had, so they scored 3 goals from those 2 away games, and we expect to see a lot of goals in this very encounter. And the last 3 meetings between the two sides also produced over 2.5, so we expect to see an over 2.5 here, a minimum of 3 goals. That's what I'm for that very encounter. Over 2.5, that's what we expect. All right, the next game that we have for you today is in Norway's first division, where we have Kristiansund who will be up against Viking. All right, for Kristiansund, in the last 6 matches, it is 4 victories and a draw, as well as 1 loss out of the last 6 games that they had. And away side, Vikings, on the other hand, have won 5 games and also drawn 1 in the last 6 matches. Okay, and when you look at how the two teams fare from home and away basis, you see Kristiansund have actually been able to achieve 4 victories and a draw. They've also lost 5 matches in the last 10 away games that they are. Last 10 home matches because Aston is actually playing from home. All right, for Vikings, on the other hand, they have actually won 6 games from away. They've also had 2 losses and 2 draws in the last 10 away games that they had. Okay, and also Vikings have been, producing so much goals playing when they are playing from away. They've actually won, 6 matches, and most of their away games that they had produced over 2.5. 9 times out of 10 they produced over 2.5. And in this one, the head-to-head basis, the last time they met, it was Vikings who won, but it was a 3-1 victory for Vikings on that occasion. But also prior to that, we saw Vikings beating this side by 5 goals to 2. So we expect to see lots of goals as well here. We expect to see a minimum of 3 goals appearing in this very encounter. So it is another 2.5. That's what we expect for this very encounter. And that will bring our predictions for you today on BetCraft to a conclusion. Wish you the very best of luck and hope your ticket goes green. Remember to play responsibly, as these are football games. Sometimes football games, expect the unexpected sometimes. It does happen in football. That's the picture of the game. So bear that in mind and play responsibly. So tomorrow is another day. We'll be back with our predictions on this very channel. Do not miss out. But until that time, keep winning.